Hello. Hi, everyone. This is Alyssa. Welcome to my live chat. Hi, Maddie Jester. I see you were the first one in the chat this week. Um, and I had put a message saying that I'm running a bit behind schedule, and Maddie said, while I'm waiting, top 3 guesses for who's behind the red door. I'll get to that in a second. I'm here with my weird translucent microphone. You see, my microphone is phasing in and out of reality. It's kind of like the episode The Next Phase with Jordy and Roe. This weird microphone phasing in and out of this reality. Anyways, I'm gonna just introduce my wine and then I'll get to Maddie's thing there. So 14 Hands, it's a local winery. I think I have done it before, maybe even last month. I don't remember. Things get less exciting since I've quit my wine club. Like, it just wasn't worth the money that I was spending for it. I can just get wine here, but I've been sticking to Costco wine and then some of this local wine, 14 Hands, because I really like it. And this is just a regular red blend. It's nothing exciting, but it's really good. This is a really good local Oregon winery. So I have a feeling Maddie Jester's 3 guesses for who's behind the red door is going to be silly. I don't know why. I haven't read them yet, but I just have this feeling that it's going to be silly. Let's see if I can. Now I guess my microphone is just going to be translucent. Okay. While I'm waiting, 3 guesses for who's behind the red door. Borg Queen, Janeway, 2, Asira from Disco, 3, Tuvix, all evil in their own way. So yes, that was quite silly, picking all these characters that I hate, and I assume you do as well, Manny. Yeah, Tuvix. Tuvix is behind the door. That's why. Did you see the scene for next week where Council Troy opens the red door and then gets up and runs away, and she's scared and like I'm sorry, we can't do this anymore. And she was the one that was all like, "Oh yes, I will be there for you. Don't worry, I'm here. We'll do it together." And then she gets up and runs away because whatever it is too scary. So if Tuvix wanted for that, I'd be scared if it was Tuvix too. Yes, and I haven't even started drinking yet. So just a little warning. Maybe Maddie's going to be the only one that hears this right now. But I'm going to have to get up in about, I don't know, 10, 13 minutes. There's Brandon. Hey, Brandon. I'm going to have to get up in like 13 minutes and run to the oven. You may hear the timer go off. I put in a carrot cake. I'm making a carrot cake it's my friend's birthday, and we're going to go after this live stream. We're going to go hang out. No big party or anything, just like some ladies hanging out, having some food, drinking some beer and wine, and probably soaking in a hot tub. Nice mellow evening. But anyways, I got a cake in the oven, a carrot cake, and I did not get it in the oven in time for it to be out of the oven before I got on my live stream. So you'll hear the oven go off, and I'll have to run up and get it. And I may mess up the illusion of my my wine cellar here. So that might get disturbed for a little bit. But yeah, just to warn you all. Okay. So Brandon says I just eat a carrot and walnut slice. Fangirling and loving it. I'm so glad that you've been coming every month. It's so nice to have you joining me. So I'll take a sip. Coffee cake's okay. I prefer carrot cake. And there are walnuts in it. And there's a little bit of coconut in it as well. The secret ingredient for this carrot cake that I use, well, it's not secret because I'm going to tell you, is crushed pineapple. Actually works really well. It helps to keep it moist, and it Just not too much pineapple flavor, but just like a hint of sweetness, so you can use a little less sugar. So I kind of like it. I've made this recipe before. Not to be confused with B4. It looks like data. Oh, my wine is also translucent if I hold it over here. My wine is phasing in and out of reality. Okay, so we have so much to talk about. Oh my God, we have so much to talk about. I want to talk more about the announcements that I made yesterday. I want to talk about, we'll probably inevitably talk about Picard. I don't really need to talk more about Picard, honestly. But I'm sure we will. And so much Star Wars. Oh my God. All this news came out about the future of Star Wars. I got to talk about it. And I was already going to spend some time talking about The Mandalorian and The Bad Batch, one show that is still ongoing and one that just finished up its season. I wanted to talk about those. And then all of this Star Wars news came out. And then so this morning, Ray, I'm scrolling through my Facebook and I was like scrolling down at Star Wars, 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 Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. Whoa. Scroll back up. What was that Game of Thrones thing? And it's kind of big deal. It's kind of a big deal, but it's like buried in all the Star Wars news. I'm going to give you a teaser because if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to have to wait. We'll get to that a little bit later. Let's start with my news from yesterday. I'm going to follow up on that. I hope you guys aren't too disappointed that I'm not going to be doing regular videos after this year. I was thinking, though, I might still do live chats because live chats don't take up a lot of work. It's mainly because I just don't feel like doing things. It's just kind of getting old, and I always knew it would. Like I knew that I was not going to continue producing consistent content on a monthly basis forever and ever and ever. But I was waiting to do this Star Trek Top 100, and to do that, I had to finish watching Enterprise first. So I had to all come together. And then I had to do my Enterprise Top 10 and Top 20, least favorite and favorite video or episode video. And have to do, all of that stuff. Fangirl loving it. Maybe I'll get to the Game of Thrones news next, so you're not held in suspense. But anyways, so I am really excited about this Top 100, though. I'm super excited about this. I hope you guys can share in a little bit of my excitement because I've been wanting to do this for so long. And this morning I finally narrowed it down to the 100 episodes that will be in the top 100, and then I put together the first video's worth of episodes, which is 100 through 76. And I think that I'm going to do it that way, like 1 month at a time. I'm going to go through the list and put the next batch of 25 episodes each month. I'm not going to do it all ahead of time. If you think that's hard, it's actually super easy, barely an inconvenience, because I have each of the episodes that qualify for each show, and I have those ranked from top to bottom, worst to best. So the best is at the bottom of the list. So all I got to do is go through the top of each list, and they're all, one after the other, of each list from each show, and look at the what's at the top of the list and think about, okay, what do I want my next 2 or 3 to be in my top 100, and then I just put them on. And then I do a little bit of tweaking afterwards, like, I think I'm going to move this here. And so when I do the 25 at a time and do 100 through 76, I'm going to, I've already selected them, 5 episodes that I want to talk about a little bit longer. So most of them I'm just going to go through fairly quickly because I got 25 episodes to get through. But then I will stop down on 5 episodes that I've selected because I just have more to say about them. And like stop and I think what I'm going to do is probably for the most of them, and you're just going to see You won't see me. You'll just see on the screen the picture of number whatever. Number 99 is this, number whatever. But when I want to stop down and talk about things, then you'll see me, and I'll be talking about. I want to talk about this episode a little bit more, and I think that's going to be a format for the first 3 videos where each have 25 episodes in it. I got my top 25 down, or my top 100 through 76 down on paper, and not paper, but my computer, and I'm really excited about it. Now I'm so excited about it that I kind of wish I had announced it for April, because I kind of want to do it now. But no, I might make the video before the end of April and then release it in early May. Yes, Brandon, a UB40 reference, of course. And I hope this song is in your head as it is with me. Sirens going by. Sirens go by all the time. Usually when I'm recording a pre-recorded video and sirens go by, I go, God damn it, and I stop and I have to re-record it. But when I'm live, I'm just going to hear the sirens. I think I missed some things, so when we scroll back up, blah, 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 blah. Maddie, I'm looking forward to the new Ray film. Everyone on Twitter will be mad, but I don't care. I'll watch it. I'm going to talk. That's one of the things I'm going to talk about later. I, too, am really looking forward to it. I love the character. It's just the writing. That wasn't her fault. It wasn't the actress's fault. We'll talk about that later, though. Let's see. I'm sad, but understand it's difficult dedicating all your time to this stuff. Holy moly, I struggle to watch YouTube videos after work, let alone make the things. I get it. Yeah, I thank you for understanding. But yeah, and you still have me through the end of the year. Yeah, I'm still going to review Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, and do my top 100 of Star Trek. But I was thinking about this. I'm probably going to do something for Discovery's final season. Well, at the very least, I'll join Mark on his channel for that. If nothing else, but I probably will do at least one video for like at the end of the season. Will Farrell #1, thank you for joining. Let's see, Fangirl 11, looking forward to that. Alyssa, I'm terrible at making decisions, so I'm always impressed when anyone can make lists like that. Brandon says, I thought the siren was on my end. Yeah, let's see. Do you like Armis? Oh yeah, you're the one who made the reference to Armis. The Armis is behind the red door. I assumed you were joking, but it's because he's going to be called by Mariner. I don't have any strong feelings about Armis either way. I know a lot of people hate that character and hate that episode. Once upon a time, I actually had it in my top 25 Next Generation episodes for nostalgia purposes, but it did make my top 100. But yeah, I don't have any huge problem with Armis, nor do I particularly love him or anything like that. Yeah, and Brandon says a large YouTube channel is a terrifying thought. Yeah, I had an inkling at one point thinking, well, if I could get back up to where I was, like where Mark is, around 6,000 or so. Mark's probably more than that now. He's probably 7,000 or something. I don't know. That would be okay, but I could have kept all of my Acton Tomco subscribers and just converted Acton Tomco into Lyssadines, but then I would have had to erase each individual video that I didn't want on the channel anymore, which would have been a pain in the ass. And also, then I would have all these subscribers who subscribe to Acton Tomco. Many of them may be transphobes, and then I'd have to deal with that. So I just wanted to start anew. So I gave up. I think I had close to 6,000 subscribers on Acton Tomco, and I just threw them all to the wind. But I had thought, if I got back up to that point, maybe that would be okay. I wouldn't want to get much beyond that. Like sitting right where Mark is, would be fine. But also, I'm just tired of making videos all the time. If you notice, I did cut back from last year to this year. I'm not doing MCU anymore. I'm not doing as many weekly reviews anymore. So I'm not doing Nostalgia Lane. So I cut back on a lot of things. So next year I'm just going to cut back even more. But anyways, yeah, excited about my top 100. Hope you guys get some enjoyment out of it. The first one will probably be early May because I think I may record the video in late April because I'm so excited to make this video. So excited. I'm also going to do I think I'm going to do a preview video where I'm going to kind of go over the rules and also talk about the things that aren't going to be in it. And I'll tell you one of those things: no tribbles. There are no tribbles anywhere in my top 100. It's not that I hate tribbles; I just think those episodes are overrated. Um, no room for a night in sick bay, indeed. That would be on my worst. I was thinking about maybe doing a top 50 or top 30, top 25 worst. And I suppose I could still decide to do that, but I'm right now. I think I'm just going to stick with the positive. It just seems like too much effort to do a separate list for the worst. And oh, here goes. I'll be right back. I warned you guys. Hopefully, I don't mess up my green screen here. Hold on. All right. So, looks like my wine cellar is still intact. Yeah, I have an oven in my wine cellar. Isn't that pretty cool? Yeah. um yeah, so I have to look at it. I think I don't know what the total count of Star Trek episodes is. It's the original 5, so I'm not doing Modern Trek. I'm doing a separate video for Modern Trek later in the year. I think it's 600 and plus. If somebody wants to look up that number right now, feel free. Otherwise, I'll look it up later. But it's quite a large number. And so a top 100, that is no small feat. Like if you're making my top 100, that means I like that episode a lot. That's a really good episode. Even number 100, number 99, number 98. So even though it seems like, oh, they're way back at number 99 or whatever, but it made the top 100. That's a big deal. We all know that the wine cellar is a holodeck. You discovered my secret, Brandon. Yes. If there's one technology from Star Trek that I always wanted to have, I mean, transporter kind of, I always think how cool it would be just to be able to beam across the country, but also transport. I'm a little bit Dr. McCoy about it, so I don't know how I feel about it, but holodecks, that's what I would want. All right. So since fangirling and loving it asked about this earlier, so I'll tell you what I saw about Game of Thrones. Like it was so funny. I was like Star Wars, Game of Thrones. What? And so I clicked on it, and this was from Game of Thrones Rocks My World, which is reliable. And the news is that HBO is an early, very, very early discussion for an Aegon the Conqueror show. And they also said there's a possibility they could do it as a movie. I kind of think that story might work better as a movie or a limited series. I think a limited series would be good. I don't know how you make multiple seasons about that. But yeah, so this is a real thing. It's greenlit. It's early stages. They don't even have writers for it yet. It hasn't been written. Not only has it not been written, but they don't even know who's going to write it. So it is years away. We're talking after House of the Dragon, and if House of the Dragon comes out every 2 years, then let's see, 2020. If they want to do 4 seasons, 2024, 2026, 2028. So we're talking about close to 2030 before we would see this thing. So long time in the future. But I mean, I guess they could do it simultaneous with House of the Dragon. I mean, maybe they would. I could be wrong about that, but I still think it's several years away regardless. And there's always a chance that later on they go, nah, we're not going to do it. So it's not even a guarantee. All it is that HBO has greenlit it. They're going to start commissioning writers. They're going to start going down that road to getting that in process. And they could still decide to make it a film. he didn't mention limited series, but I personally think that would be the best format for it. And if they did a limited series, then they could slide it in between seasons of House of the Dragon, like an off year of House of the Dragon. And if they did multiple seasons, they could do those in alternate House of the Dragon years as well. So we get Game of Thrones something every year. So yeah, that's the Game of Thrones news. Nobody knows about it because it's all Star Wars. Yeah. So what I read in the article is that the number one candidates for the writers is Dan and Dave. April Fool's a week late. No, not Dan and Dave. No, definitely not. I don't. They would never do that. They're much smarter than that. Fair or unfair, Dan and Dave will never do anything again, at least not with Game of Thrones. And I think they've done something since then. I forget what it was, but yeah. Damn it, Alyssa. Yeah, no. Don't worry. HBO would not be that stupid. Hopefully be someone who would do the story justice. But yes, that's the news. And who knows if it even actually will happen. This is just all it is it was greenlit and they're going to start getting the writers and things like that. Things like this fall apart all the time. So it's not a guarantee. But the fact that they're even thinking about it, I think that's good news. I've always wanted to see this story. But again, I don't think how do you make a multiple season story out of it? I don't know. Anyways, that is that. Let's get into some Star Wars. You guys can, later on we'll probably get back to Picard because I know you guys probably want to talk more about Picard. But so much Star Wars to talk about. So I don't even know where to begin. The Bad Batch finished up last week. I was going to maybe do a video for it and decided I didn't feel like it. So this is, again, I'm doing less things on my channel. But I saw that my brother did a review for it. And I definitely liked it a lot better than he did. I think he gave it a 7. I'm more at 8.5 to 9 for it. I think that again, has too many episodes, has too many side quests, but I just kind of accept that is the format that they've chosen. And I look at it the same way I would look at like a Next Generation season or Deep Space Nine season. So for example, Next Generation had season 6 had 24, 25, 26 episodes, something like that. I consider it one of the best seasons of Star Trek. Even though about 8 episodes sucked, like it had rascals in there, and it had, and same with season 6 of Deep Space Nine had probably my number one least favorite episode of all time of all Star Trek, Prophet and Lace, is in that season, and yet I would still call season 6 of Deep Space Nine one of the better seasons in Star Trek, and that's because when you look at seasons that are that long, you have to judge them by their best episodes, and so that is what I'm applying to the Bad Batch, and I think the best episodes were way a bazillion times better than anything in season 1. So I would cite both the Crosshair episodes, episode 3 and episode 12. I would cite the mid-season kind of finale, episode 7 and 8, and I would cite the actual finale, 15 and 16. Amazing episodes of Star Trek, or Star Wars rather. And I think that what I really appreciate about this show the most is that not only is it set in that time period that I'm really interested in, which is right after Order 66 and the beginning of the Empire, but it's showing us from a very clone perspective, a humanistic clone perspective of the downfall of the clones, and I find that really, really fascinating. I find it really fascinating that they're doing the clone perspective, and that's something my brother didn't touch on, so maybe he doesn't agree with that, but I really, really love that they're showing us the clone perspective. So I haven't quite decided it's going to be an 8.5 or a 9 for this show, because I'm judging it by the best episodes of the season, which is what you do for these kind of episodic, longer seasons. So that's my spiel about the Bad Batch. Now, I'm going to talk about the other show that's on currently, The Mandalorian, and then I'll get into all of the news stuff. So, yeah, they're doing a Knights of the Old Republic era film. I understand you haven't played the game, but honestly, the story is awesome. You're getting ahead of me. I'll get to the films. Yeah. Oh, Brandon said, talking of April Fools, who else enjoyed nitpicking nerds Picard review on that date? I totally fell for it. Yeah, knots over my head. Don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know what nitpicking nerds is. I assume at the YouTube channel, but so nope, totally have no idea what you're talking about. But maybe I'll look it up and see. Now, anything that came out on April Fools, I mean, was an obvious. I mean, anything that seemed like crazy is an obvious April Fool's joke. So, years ago, I used to fall for that stuff, but I know better. I'm like, oh, it's April 1st. Don't believe anything you see on Facebook. Don't believe anything you see on YouTube. I think I did an April Fool's joke one time, like on Acting Tomko's channel, where I forget like what I said, like I'm not doing my channel anymore, or I forget what I did. But yeah, you don't believe anything that you see on April 1st. And then for you, Brandon, you have to remember that for you, it's April 2nd because everybody else is the day before. Yeah, you're right. You just said what I just said. I'm a day ahead of you, remember. Yeah. You have to keep that in mind though when you're looking at social media from the US or YouTube. You gotta be like, oh yeah, it was April 1st. It's April 1st for them. So I know I realize it's like extra work for you to do that. So I totally understand that. Let's talk about The Mandalorian because I feel like every time I do one of these live streams, it's right after a crappy episode. Like last time was after episode 3. Episode 6, the latest one, it sucked. I didn't like it. And I will start off by saying that it's not because of the cameos. Now, for those of you guys watching who are not familiar with episode 6 or not watching The Mandalorian, this is maybe touch bit of a spoiler, but not ruining anything. But there were cameos, 3 huge cameos from well-known. I don't even want to say actors because they're not all actors. Actors are entertainers. 3, and so a lot of people are complaining about these cameos. I am not. I'll just go ahead and tell you what the cameos were. They were Christopher Lloyd, which I actually heard before the season started that Christopher Lloyd was going to be in it, so that wasn't a surprise to me. Christopher Lloyd, Jack Black, and Lizzo were in the latest episode of The Mandalorian, and people are complaining about that. I had no problem with the cameos. That is not the reason that I think the episode sucked. People were saying that they felt Jack Black didn't belong in Star Wars. He felt out of place. Jack Black felt a billion times more in place in Star Wars than fucking Bill Burr. Bill Burr was in each of the first 2 seasons. Bill Burr, of course, being a stand-up comedian with a fucking Boston accent. I'm sorry, but Boston accents feel way out of place in the Star Wars universe. So Jack Black a million times more in place in the Star Wars universe than Bill Burr. I thought Jack Black did a fine job. Christopher Lloyd, of course, is Christopher Lloyd. You can put him anywhere. Lizzo felt a little off just only because she's not a great actress. I mean, acting is not her forte. She's a singer. She's a musician. She's an entertainer. She's an artist. She's not really an actor. So her acting wasn't great. And she spent like more than half of the episode holding Grogu, which I just assume was in her contract when she agreed to do it. I'll do it, but I must hold Grogu for like 75% of my scenes. So, and she's not a great actress. So it felt a little off for that, but ultimately did not bother me all that much. So that's not the reason why I hated the episode. Hate's probably a strong word, but like really did not like the episode. I didn't like it because the plot was dumb. And this just reminded me that The Mandalorian is what it is. It will never change. When I put Mandalorian season 3 in my preseason, shows that I'm most looking forward to, I somehow had this crazy idea that it would do something different and not be the same show that it's always been. And the same show that it's always been is that it distracts from the main storyline, the serialized storyline, the one that I am always most interested in. It distracts a lot with side quests, and sometimes the side quests are good. And I think season 2 had the best side quests. It had this Ahsoka episode in it, for example. So I think season 2 has the best side quest overall, but it also has some crappy ones as well. So it kind of depends on how good the side quests are. But I think a lot of the ones in season 1 were stupid and just made me pissed off that we were distracting from the main storyline with these stupid side quests. And this last week's episode was the worst side quest I've ever seen in The Mandalorian. And I was just like, why? Why are we doing this? This is a stupid thing about the droids and droids malfunctioning, and why, my god, why did they do this? And they opened and closed the episode with an interesting Mandalorian related plot. And then that should have just been the episode. Why did they not just do that? Because you know why they didn't do that? Is because that's not the show that The Mandalorian is. The show that The Mandalorian is they always have to go off on these stupid ass fucking side quests. They can't just fucking get to the interesting part. So the side quest was just so dumb. So dumb. It's probably the worst one they've ever done. So that is why I did not like this past week's episode. And Christopher Lloyd, while his presence overall did not offend me, his character was a Scooby-Doo villain. And I'm sorry that spoiled it. He's the villain. He's secretly the villain. They didn't pull a mask off of him, but everything else just felt like a Scooby-Doo villain. Like, I really was expecting him to say, I would have gone away with it too, if not for you dastardly Mandalorians and your baby Yoda. Like, it's just... yeah, it's just such dumb character. It was a fucking Scooby-Doo villain. So cameos were fine, plot not fine. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat. Snap, as I keep telling Mark, get out of my head. Ironic, Mark told that to Ricky, one of his patrons, in his latest video. Fangirling and loving it. I love the cameos. I'm in the minority as usual this season. I've been enjoying it so much. Sorry, you don't have to apologize. I've been enjoying parts of the season, but then I just get frustrated with like episode 3 taking 40 minutes to show this fucking character I don't care about. Now, episode 3 did introduce elements that I did find interesting, like how the New Republic is not all it's cracked up to be. I am interested in that. I liked how they did it better in episode 5, and I think there's better ways to give us that message than what they did in episode 3. And then episode 6, which is a bad side quest. So bad. The cameos, fine. The side quest, bad. Okay. So, yeah. So, anyway, the Mandalorian. Who cares about the Mandalorian? But the trailer! The trailer for Ahsoka! Did you see that? Oh my god. So I am a big fangirl of Star Wars Rebels. I only watched it for the first time 2 years ago. But I am a full-on fangirl of that show. I love that show. I'm fangirling and loving it too for Star Wars Rebels. And this is going to be a live-action sequel to Rebels. This is like kind of like Rebels Season 5 in live action. We get to see Harrison Dillon in person and Chopper going in live action. And Sabine Wren with long hair. I fucking love it. Her hair is beautiful. Although I did see like a screenshot of like later in the season, she does cut it and look more like the Sabine that we know from the animated show. But I fucking love it. And Grand Admiral Thrawn, the best villain. It was number 2 on my villain list behind Darth Vader when I did a top 10 villains in Star Wars. And I don't even know the like Timothy Zahn stuff. I read Heir to the Empire when it first came out years ago, but I don't remember it. I don't even remember Grand Admiral Thrawn being in that book. I just remember the bearded dude who's on the cover. But it's been years since I read it. I don't think I read the other 2 books that came after it in that trilogy. So years and years ago. But I know him mostly from Rebels, and I think he is like the best villain in Star Wars next to Darth Vader. And I am so pumped. And they're apparently um, he is being played by the guy who voiced him in the show in Rebels, so he will sound exactly the same. So I can't wait. Oh, the trailer, yeah, Mandalorian's okay, but the trailer for Ahsoka, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for that show, and it's coming out in August. So August, a big month for Star Wars, Star Trek. Lower Decks season 4, and then that's season 5 of Rebels in live action, or season 1 of Ahsoka, as it's actually called. Yeah, fangirling and loving and agreeing with me. I'm so excited for Ahsoka. What a trailer! Wow, yeah. And apparently, the people in at Star Wars Celebration saw more scenes today when they actually got to see Grand Admiral Thrawn's face. That we didn't see in our trailer, and I think there's a couple other things they got to see. And this is a bit of a spoiler, but I did hear that it's a little bit of a spoiler for episode 7 of The Mandalorian, so you can go blah 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 if you don't want to hear it. But apparently, one of the scenes that the people saw at Star Wars Celebration, the Grand Moff. Not Grand Moff, Moff Gideon makes a reference to Admiral Thrawn. He's looking for him. So he's looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn. So it's all starting to tie together. And now that is a good segue into the movies, because the first movie that I will talk about is the Dave Filoni movie that's supposed to be kind of a culmination of the Disney Plus shows in the Mandoverse. So I have heard it described, and I don't know if this is accurate, but I hope this is what it is. But as an Avengers Endgame type movie for the Mandoverse, so it will have, so it should have, Din Djarin, Bo-Katan, Grogu, probably Grief Karga would probably be in it. So you'd have characters from that show, and of course Boba Fett and Fennec Shand would be in it, and then probably Ahsoka, Harrison Dalla, maybe Ezra, Sabine Wren, whatever. So it'd be like an Avengers Endgame for Star Wars for the Mandoverse. Oh my god, that could be so good. But that's another thing, like I think years away, because you got probably going to get another season of The Mandalorian, and quite possibly a season 2 of Ahsoka. So those things would have to play themselves out before, and maybe season 2 of Book of Boba Fett. I don't know, which I'm not as down on that show as other people are. So I would be okay with the season 2 of the Book of Boba Fett, especially if they improved upon the first season. That's exciting news. I think that is great. In fact, I was going to say, with the 3, they announced 3 movies, and all 3 of them sound good in theory. Like, they sound like really good ideas. Now, they still have to execute them. They still have to pull it off. But that's a step above the previous movies. Like, if I had heard years ahead of time that they were doing Rogue One, and they were doing a movie that explained how the rebels got the plans to the Death Star, and why the Death Star had that big flaw that it had, I would have been like, do we need to see that? Now, ultimately, I think Rogue One is a pretty decent movie. Actually, I think it's probably I think it is the best of those story movies, and I think it is probably the best recent Star Wars movie, because I think it's better than any of the sequel films. Yeah, except maybe Force Awakens. I don't know. But I think it's not a bad movie. But if you had told me about the concept ahead of time, I would have been like, eh. And then I knew about the Solo concept ahead of time, and I was like, really? Why? Why do we need this? So these 3 films already a step ahead of those, because already I'm like, that sounds like great ideas for great concepts for films. They still have to follow through with it, but great ideas. And let me get into the chat real quick, and then I'll talk about the Rey film. I'm excited for, so you said that already. Oh wow, sounds awesome. Endgame broke me, so I'll have to prepare myself. Yeah, I mean, don't expect it to be exactly like Endgame. Don't get your hopes up too much. But I think it's that style of movie where all the characters, from these different projects all come together. And I would assume Grand Admiral Thrawn is the main villain of that, with Moff Gideon probably being like a secondary villain. Seems like he wants to work for Thrawn if he's asking about him. So I don't know. So that could be really good. That could be really good. Now, the next movie we'll talk about, I think Maddie Jester mentioned it earlier, the Rey film. So this is going to take place 15 years after Rise of Skywalker, and Rey is going to be trying to get the Jedi Order back. She's going to have a Jedi school, and I heard at one point it was going to be called Jedi Academy, but then I heard, no, it's going to be called like Jedi New Order or something like that. Which makes me think of New Order of the band. Yeah, what was their song? New Order? They had one really huge song. Now I'm blanking on it, but somebody told me, I'd be like, oh, yeah. They had a couple of them, but there was one that was really huge. Anyway, getting sidetracked. So it's going to be 15 years after... so moving forward after Rise of Skywalker and showing Rey. I love Rey as a character. I love Daisy Ridley as an actress. So if they give her a good script and a good director, and who's the director of this one? I forget. James Mangold is doing the next one that I'll talk about. Dave Filoni is doing the Mandalorian one. I forget who's doing the Rey one. But that one, it depends on the writing, the script, the directing, that sort of thing. I don't think that timeline, that part of the Star Wars timeline is inherently flawed. I just think that the movies were a cluster. And I do also think that the Mandiverse is actively working to try to fix some of that by explaining Palpatine's return with the fact that he was cloned. I think the Bad Batch is doing that too. I think both Bad Batch and Mandalorian are really heavily hinting at the Empire, or the remnants of the Empire are working on Force-sensitive clones. So that'll be where Snoke comes from, and that'll be where the Palpatine clone comes from. So they're trying to fix it a little bit. I think it might work. Like, I think if the Mandiverse could retroactively make it not suck as much. But, so that's what they're doing. So all hope of this idea the fans have that we're just going to, uncanonize the sequel films. That is not going to happen. They're just going to try to patch them up and make them not suck as much by adding more to it. And then, so if the Rey movie is written well and has a good director, then I think it could be really good. Like, I don't think it's inherently bad just because it has Rey in it or because it's in that timeline. So I actually am excited for this movie. I include it in the three movies when I say that I'm really excited about the concept. And I think this is a much better concept than Rogue One or Solo Story. I really love that concept. I hope that they don't do the same thing again where somebody turns to the dark side. And I hope they can do something a little more creative with it. Let's see. I love ensemble cast movies, so it sounds good. I know. Brandon said Blue Monday. No, that's not the song I'm thinking of. You saw New Order in 1982 for first Australian tour. Very cool. 1982, I was 8, so would not have seen any concerts then. Fangirl and loving it. I'm here for Jedi Rey. Me too. Me too. Fangirl and loving says, well, Brandon. Brandon says I'm old, and they weren't all that good that particular tour. Oh, that's a shame. But was there one like big? All right, I'm gonna Google it. God damn it, Brandon, I thought you would tell me. Not you said Blue Monday, but that's not the song I'm thinking of. Let's see, New Order, Wikipedia. Let's see. Come on. Give me a list of songs. I just want a list of their songs. All right. No, Blue Monday. What does Blue Monday sound like? Maybe it is the song I'm thinking of, and I just don't. Maybe that is the song I'm thinking of, and I just don't recognize it by its title. right, I don't want to waste all this time doing that. How does it go? Um, yeah, I don't know. Oh, let's see. Jedi BB-8 for the win. He gets a little lightsaber too. Oh, so let's talk about the next movie. I believe it's tentatively titled Dawn of the Jedi, and it actually is before the Old Republic. It it is set 25,000 years before the original trilogy, and it's called Dawn of the Force or Dawn of the Jedi or something like that. And it's going to show us like the beginnings of the Force or people being able to use the Force. So it's like ancient times. It kind of reminds me of that Game of Thrones concept that they were talking about doing before that was going to go back way before the Long Night and like get way back in ancient Game of Thrones times. Like that for Star Wars and even further back, like in a galaxy far away, long time ago. This is even a longer time ago. This is 25,000 years before that. So really ancient times. So I'm really fascinated by that concept. It is something that they could easily fuck up and be like, I mean, they could do a a Claridians type of thing where it's like, I didn't actually want to know that. Like, but so that, again, if it's in the right hands, if it's done well, if it's written well, directed well, I think this could be a very fascinating film. So it really does hinge on how they do it. But I think that's a really interesting idea for a film. So I like it. The Dawn of the Force or the Dawn of the Jedi. I can't remember which one it is, but it's the Dawn of something. But it's 25,000 years ago. It was like way back. So really interesting in it. Let's see. Yeah. Sing it. I don't know what to sing. I don't know what their songs are. I can't. That's the thing. I'm thinking like I would have to hear it. So I don't. It's not like I have a song in my head. I just know that there is a song that I would recognize from them. Maybe it is Blue Monday. Hold on. This is weird, but okay. Blue Monday. Maybe it is Blue Monday. I don't know. Okay. Oh, damn it. You're gonna play it. All right, skipping ahead. All right, it's a 7 minute song. What's the lyrics? Oh, yeah. Oh, what do I feel? Of course, that's them. Yes. Okay. How do I feel? Yeah. I feel like there's at least one other song that was really popular from them too. But yeah, Blue Monday. Okay, that's it. That's the song. um, one of those 80s songs that makes you want to go do the robot, you know. Okay. Um, yeah, what else? What else? Let's see. Um, I was just like when I clicked on YouTube for a second, I saw that Brandon left a comment saying that I think Jack was possessed by a Paul Wraith. Okay, let's get into some theories. I don't know. I just don't want it to be the Borg Queen. Like I want to. Um, yeah, I want to. I want it to be something good. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have any idea, honestly. As long and honestly, the most reliable idea I can come up with is the Borg Queen, and I don't want it to be that. So, what made Counselor Troy run away in that scene that they showed from next week's episode? I don't know. What is the deal? What's the deal with? Yes, I know, Two Mix. We've already talked about that joke. Two Mix. I don't know. I'm phasing my mind in reality again. My microphone is firmly set in reality unless I put my hand over here. Although I guess when I move sometimes when I move a certain way, it phases out of reality. Yeah, it's not a preview. It's like a scene from next week's episode. They always show a scene from next week's episode at the end of the Ready Room, but then you can usually find it independent of the Ready Room if you just Google it on YouTube, or not Google it, but search for it on YouTube. You can usually find it without having to sit through the annoying Will Wheaton. I don't find Will Wheaton find him a little annoying, but not so annoying that I can't watch him. Because I do find the interviews that he does interesting, even if he's a little bit obnoxious. But yeah, it's not a preview. It's like a scene, and it shows like Council Troy opening the red door, and then we don't see what it is, and she gets up and runs away and like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. So, yeah, I get you, Brandon. Can't watch the Ready Room. Just look for it. You can look unless you don't want to be spoiled. And don't want. I already spoiled you anyway. But in the future, if you don't want to be spoiled, you don't have to watch it. But if you do, you can. I'm sure you can find it without the Ready Room because I've definitely seen those scenes independent of the Ready Room before. So. I kind of want to talk about. I was thinking about this more, like why I think that this Jack Crusher mystery is being dragged out too much. Before I get to that, let me see what Manny is saying. I saw some behind-the-scenes stuff where there were more artifacts and Days from Station we didn't see on the string. One of them was the probability box from Rivals. I love DS9, but nobody likes Rivals. Rivals, my number 2 least favorite Deep Space Nine episode next to Prophet and Lace. So fucking hate that episode. God, I hate that episode so much. The probability box is so fucking stupid. So I'm glad that we didn't see that. Jack's red door, Danny's yellow door, meh. So here's my problem. Why I feel like it's being dragged out. So this mystery is introduced. We had several episodes where we just see the same thing. We see the red door, we see the vines, and then it took a long time for them to build on them. And then they do this slight misdirect where it's just a near-erotic syndrome. And I think the near-erotic syndrome does have something to do with it, but there's some other root cause of the near-erotic syndrome that is related to what's behind the red door and everything. But anyway, so they don't really add to the mystery. They don't build on it. They just kind of repeat the same thing for several episodes. They do a little bit of a misdirect, then they go back to repeating. Well, actually, no, then finally they do add new things. They finally, 2 episodes ago, added the whole red eye thing and turning, mind controlling people, reading people's thoughts first and then mind controlling them. So that was a new thing they added in episode 7. Episode 8, do they build on that at all? Do they reveal it? No, they just repeat it again. So I just feel like what they're doing, they're not properly building up a mystery. A good mystery is one that you add more and more intrigue to as you go. And I don't feel that they've been doing that. I feel like that they just pick one thing, repeat it, add a new thing, repeat it. And with also a little stupid misdirect in the middle of that with the neurotic syndrome. It's not a properly structured mystery. So to me, it just feels like we should have the answer by now because it's not been built up properly. And I know why we haven't had the answer right now, because it's something they want to save for the penultimate or the finale. The penultimate episode of the finale, hopefully the penultimate episode. So they want to have it at the end. But I don't think it's been working for them to save it for the end because they haven't been properly building it. And that's why it feels it's really dragged out and feels like it's really dragged out. And furthermore, this is extra irritating because the reason behind the Changelings' attack is tied into this. And so we still don't know at the end of episode 8 what the villains motives are or what their mission is, what they are trying to accomplish. And this is something that this mystery was started in episode 1, and they started adding that. At first they were adding to it, there was the really big changeling reveal at one point, which was really good. The first 3 or 4 episodes, especially with the Raffi and Worf scenes, were kind of doing a really good job. That was good mystery building. That was good. But then at a certain point, it came to a standstill because they don't want to reveal who Jack is till the end. So therefore, they cannot reveal what the Changeling's plan is until the end. So that episode, that mystery was being built for a little while, and boom, just stops, and we get nothing on it. And that is very frustrating. It's just not good storytelling. So that is why I think this should have been 8 episodes. They could have. I don't agree with my brother that the thing in the nebula was too drawn out. I didn't have any problem with that. However, the reason why I think it's going to be should be condensed is if you wanted to wait until the end to reveal the Jack Crusher thing, then there should have been fewer episodes and they should have condensed it, because this is dragging out for way too long. And it is ridiculous that we've gotten this far without knowing what the villains are doing. So that is my main problem with the season. However, if it ends up being something really cool that's behind the red door and something really interesting, if it blows my mind, like Will Wheaton said, that's what Will Wheaton said. Oh, I don't want to spoil anything, but I saw what's coming, and it'll blow your mind. I'm like, okay, whatever, Will Wheaton. He says that about everything, so I don't know. But if it did, if it really is that good, then I will probably forgive it. I will probably okay, well, this is really good, and then I won't totally forgive it, but definitely my overall feeling of the season hinges on how good this mystery is, how good the answer is, and that sucks. It's, as I said in my review, it's the discovery trap, where everything in the season hinges on what the answer is. If it's the Borg Queen, I'm going to think the season is overall not very good, although I will still appreciate all the great character moments, all the great character interactions, all the great individual scenes that the season has had. It's been a lot of good stuff, a lot of great nostalgia. I don't mind the nostalgia, most of it. So a lot of great stuff. So it won't take away any of that. So this is never going to be anywhere remotely as bad as season 2 was. But I definitely will think it will be closer to a 7 or a 6 in the ratings than a 9 or a 10. And I don't know about 10, probably not realistic, but like an 8 or 9, if 8 or 8.5 or 9 if the mystery is really good and if the last 2 episodes are really good. The last 2 episodes are really, really good, then a 9 is achievable. But if it's like the Borg Queen or something, and this season could be a 6 or a 7, so, or a 6.5. So, and I hate that. I hate that it's doing the discovery thing where everything is hinging on how good this answer is. Let's see. How easily is your mind blown? I don't know. Like, I wouldn't say too easily anymore because I feel like I've seen it all. But yeah, my mind can be blown. I thought Westworld season 4, the mid-season twist, was mind blowing. So my mind can still be blown, but I would say not super easily. And I don't expect this mystery to have to blow my mind like Will Wheaton says. I just want it to be good. Like, I don't have to feel mind blown. I just have to think that, oh, that's pretty good. So let's see. Let's see. I still have no idea what Vatic wanted. Yeah, that's kind of what I was just talking about, because it's annoying that they haven't told us that yet. So confused, giving up, trying to guess. Yeah. It's been fun adding songs for the episode titles. 17 Seconds by The Cure, Dominion by the Sisters of Mercy. Oh, cool. Surrender by Cheap Trick. Yeah, it's true. You do have this knack for 80s music that I just do not have because you were 10 years older than me. Let's see. What else? Picard is easier to see on Prime. Yeah, I don't have a problem seeing it at all. So maybe it's, I don't know, Paramount Plus in the US does a better job. It's like I said, I don't really have a hard time seeing anything that people say are too dark, except for that Game of Thrones episode. But like the House of Dragon episodes, people were complaining about. I saw them just fine. I don't know what the big deal was. All right, so what else do you guys want to talk about? I'll take a drink of wine. Music is my religion. Well, me too, but just different type of music, not 80s music. But that's cool. Let's see. Here's a random thought. I had this random thought earlier today. I had this random memory of a commercial from the 80s. And I know you guys are old enough to remember this, but I'm not sure if it was an international thing or if people in other countries like Maddie and Brandon would know this. By the way, where's Norman? Norman's not here. I just noticed that. We're missing Norman this week. That's okay. I'm sure he has a really good reason. But so this random 80s reference came into my head. So I was making eggs. I was frying an egg this morning. and I hadn't thought about this in years, but I thought of, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Do you guys know about this, Maddie and Brandon? Like, I know it was a very American commercial. It was in the whole Nancy Reagan "Just Say No" campaign, but it may be famous enough that you may have heard of it. But it was well known, and it was like in the 80s. And this guy's frying an egg, and he goes, "This is your brain." No, first he just shows the egg. The egg is your brain, and then he fries it. It's like, "This is your brain on drugs." And this is a reference that maybe my brother would remember. But there was some sketch comedy show. It was not Saturday Night Live. I think it might have been not necessarily The News, which was a show that was on HBO in the 80s. But it could have also been Kids in the Hall, but I didn't like Kids in the Hall as much. But anyways, there was some sketch comedy show that did a parody of that, where the guy's going, "This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. This is your brain on drugs with a side of bacon." For some reason, it just cracks me up every time. I was thinking about that. This is your brain on drugs with a side of bacon. I'll just show how ridiculous that commercial was. It's just so dumb. And Brandon says, "I don't recall it." No. Yeah, I mean, it's an American thing. So you definitely would have been old enough to be aware of it if it was, something that people in other countries other than the US were aware of. It's definitely a Nancy Reagan "Just Say No to Drugs" thing, for sure. Maddie says, "Feel like I've heard a parody somewhere." Yeah, there's been parodies of it for a while. It's like famous thing to mock. It is definitely something that has been mocked over the years, but especially when it was fresh in the 80s. Yeah, and I wonder if my brother, Mark, if you watch this later and you remember which show that was, you can comment. I think it was not necessarily The News that did that, or maybe Mark doesn't remember. Maybe Mark was too young to remember that sketch. But I have this memory of Mark thinking that was really funny too. "This is your brain on drugs with a side of bacon." I don't know why I think that's so hilarious, but I do. Let me circle back to what Manny said earlier. I'll even go back further and see what Brandon said. He said, "How's Easter treating you?" Well, Easter's tomorrow for me. And honestly, I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you. If there's any holiday that I just do not give any fuck about, it's Easter. I don't even know when Easter is every year. So tomorrow is my mother's birthday. So I went to get her a birthday card earlier this week, and in the store it said, they had the birthday section and then had an Easter section, and it said Easter, Sunday, April 9th. I was like, "Oh, Easter's the same day as my mom's birthday this year." No idea. I had no idea. there was one year, many years ago, I was living in Massachusetts, and I went to go shopping at the local food co-op. And I went to the food co-op, and it was closed on a Sunday, and usually it's open 7 days a week. And I was like, why the fuck is it closed? And then I saw the sign on the door, closed for Easter. I'm like, oh, it's Easter? No idea. Easter is not a holiday I am not religious, and I am not we don't have kids, so I don't do the whole Easter basket thing. If I had kids, I probably would do that. The Easter egg hunts are fun. When I was with my ex-wife, her nephews were younger at the time. They're, I think, both out of high school now, but we would go and do Easter egg hunts, and that was fun. It's fun with the kids. So if I had kids, I probably would be more into Easter. Easter egg hunts are fun. But since I have no kids and I'm not religious, I have zero reason to give a fuck about Easter, honestly. And it's thankfully not as shoved down your throats as Christmas is. Christmas is a much bigger holiday. Like, there's no way you can miss Christmas. Also, Christmas is on the same day every year. You know when it's coming. Easter, they move around all the time. And I've never understood the math calculation that they use to decide when Easter is. Somebody explained it to me once, and I'm like, huh? Like, I don't get it. So yeah, that's my Easter rant. Anyways, way too much time on that. I wanted to address what Manny said. Have you got any clues for the upcoming top 100? Any surprise choices? So as I said earlier, I have the 100 episodes finalized, but I don't have the entire order finalized. I'm going to do it 1 month at a time. I now have 100 through 76 picked out. And then I'll just go through, and next month, then I'll do 75 through 51, and then I'll do 50 through 25, then 25 through 11, and then the top 10. So as far as any clues, any surprise choices, not surprised if you religiously watch my channel and memorize everything that I've ever said. But surprises if you're like a layman who's never come to my channel and would expect to see Trouble with Tribbles on there. Yeah, there might be, actually, I think number 100 and number 99 may be surprises to some people. Because there are episodes that I have mentioned here and there, and they're both underrated episodes. So this is my little clue on what number 100 and number 99 is. Number 100 is on my underrated episode top 10. Number 99 should have been on my underrated episode top 10. I forgot to put it on, but I have actually talked about it in a video at some point in the past. If you memorize every word I've ever said, you won't be totally shocked, but it might be a little bit surprising. Number 100 and number 99 might be slightly surprising because they're not episodes that most people will put in their top 100 that I am putting in my top 100. And there's a couple other ones here and there that would be surprised to the lay person who is not familiar with my channel, has never seen any of my other videos. Will be like, you have that one in your top 100? There will be those. But not very few that like I've never really talked about before. I think number 99 is the one that could be the biggest surprise for people because I haven't talked about it a whole lot, and it's definitely not one that most people will put in their top 100. So yeah, a little bit of surprises. But basically, if you go back and watch my top 20, excuse me, top 20 Next Generation, top 10 TOS, top 20 Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, all those, you have a basic idea of what's in my top 100. Oh, I was going to give you all the breakdown. I didn't do that yet. Let me give you the breakdown. So the breakdown with the 100 episodes that I've chosen is, as I said in the video I did yesterday, Next Generation and Deep Space Nine have the most. So Next Generation is the most with 27 episodes out of the 100. So more than a quarter of the top 100 is Next Generation, and just about another quarter of it is Deep Space Nine's 26. So 27 and 27 for Next Generation, 26 for Deep Space Nine. So a little more than half of the top 100 is Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, which should come to no surprise to anyone if you know my channel. Those are my two favorite shows. And then tied for third place is Enterprise in the original series with 16 episodes each, and dead last is Voyager with 15. And when I think about it, like since both Enterprise and original series have far less episodes than Voyager, that doesn't speak highly for Voyager with only 15. And I know that that's a hot take. I know I'm like the only one in the universe who thinks this, but Voyager is fifth place for me of those 5 shows. Enterprise is a solid fourth place. I think that it did not live up to its potential. I think that I've said that I feel like a broken record because I've said this many times before, but they did not take full advantage of the setting of Voyager being set. Voyager stuck in another galaxy, and it really should have been a little bit more BSG-ish, should have been a little bit more Year of Hell-ish for the whole series, not this pristine ship with everybody still wearing uniforms, and the Maquis just going Chakotay being full Starfleet in episode 2. It's too clean and neat, and it's unrealistic, and it failed as a series. And then seasons 6 and 7 were awful, and I feel alone on this, but season 6 of Voyager is one of the worst seasons in all of Star Trek. It would almost be as bad as Enterprise seasons 1 and 2, if not for a blink of an eye. A blink of an eye, spoiler, will be high up in my top 100. High up in my top 100. So, if not for that one episode, I would easily say season 6 of Voyager is it is still one of the worst seasons, but without that episode, it would be worse than Enterprise seasons 1 and 2. And I know I'm alone on that, but I watched that season and it was so hard to get through. And so many of the episodes I think other people think are good, I think are mediocre. I think the best that you get outside of blink of an eye is mediocre at best. I think a lot of awful episodes, bad episodes, and a lot of mediocrity. It's just a ton of mediocrity in that season, and not a good season at all. Season 7 only has one episode in my top 20 Voyagers, and therefore only one episode in my top 100. Season 7 also not a good season. So Voyager, being my least favorite of the 5 original series, or 5, I shouldn't use that term, 5 legacy series, least amount of episodes, proportionately, like way less, because it only has one less than Enterprise and TOS, but it has way more episodes than those 2 shows. So Voyager not doing too good, but it will have 1 or 2 in the top 10. So it does that. It does have that. It possibly, I think, is a great chance. I haven't done my top 10 yet. A great chance of Voyager has 2 in my top 10. At least 1. So when it's good, but overall, not my favorite series. All right, let's scroll back up, see what else people are saying. I get Good Friday and Easter Monday off work. That's all I care about. Haha. Also, the chocolate eggs are nice. Yeah, I mean, we don't get anything off. I got Friday off, but it's one of those random days. Like, they always give us these random days off throughout the school year to make the calendar work. So it had nothing to do with Good Friday. So, yeah. What are you guys, a little religious state over there? How do you get religious holidays off? So, no. I guess we all get Christmas off, though. But, yeah, no. Let's see. It's your mom's birthday where I live. Yes, you should call my mom and say, no, don't, please don't, because she'll be like, who's this weirdo calling me? She doesn't know who you are. Yeah, it is not my mom's birthday where she lives, though, so that's what matters. Fangirling, loving it. I don't have kids, but I love chocolate, so I do Easter. Fair enough. You love chocolate. That's a good reason. Will Ferrell, what did you think of Dr. Talon Soren and Generations? I don't know. That's kind of a little left field for me. I'm sorry, Will Ferrell, number 1. You do often ask these questions that are out of left field, and I usually do really appreciate it because it makes me think of things that I wasn't going to think of, wasn't going to talk about before. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I'm not saying that this isn't interesting, but it's hard for me to, for my mind to get there because it's just been so long since I've seen Generations, and it's just not on my mind. So I'm sorry I don't have an answer for you. Let's see. The thing that annoys me about Voyager is they're stranded and there's no urgency. Exactly. That's exactly my point. It's just most of the episodes could have just easily be set in the Alpha Quadrant, and it's annoying. Let's see. Also, let's play around the holodeck a lot. Yeah. Don't even get me started on that. Fangirling and loving it. Funnily enough, I've been rewatching season 4 of Voyager today. That's the best season. If every season was like season 4, then Voyager would be a much better show. That is by far the best season of Voyager, and I don't think any other ones come anywhere close to it. And it has the bulk of my top 20 Voyager episodes and the bulk of the Voyager episodes that will be in my top 100. And the 2 episodes that are in, well, actually, technically two-parters, giving up spoiling things, that are have a chance to be in my top 10 of all Star Trek, both in season 4. Season 4, the best season by far. Good Friday, a public holiday. Easter Monday is too. I don't know. I guess we had a little more separation of church and state here because, we've got, so many more religions than Christianity in this country. So I'm glad we don't have that here. Alrighty. I just realized that everybody in here is from another country except for, I don't know about Will Ferrell number 1. I forget if you've told me where you're from. Well, I had a thing that I gotta do at 6, and it's 5:20. Admiral Catherine Janeway had a cameo in Nemesis. Yes, she did. Good Friday, the pubs are closed. That is sad. I'm so glad that's not what it's like in the U.S. My God, that would be awful. I think there would be riots if they try to close the pubs for fucking religious holiday. There's so many, especially in my city, so many fucking atheists here. So many atheists, like there would be riots. Closing pubs for Good Friday. Oh my God, I'm so glad that we don't do that. Will Ferrell number 1 from Illinois. Okay, so you're the only fellow American, my fellow American. With Maddie being an Englishman, Brandon being from Australia, and fangirling and loving it. If I remember correctly, you are Welsh. Did we not talk about that last time? You're Welsh. Becoming an admiral for getting lost. Okay, that's not her fault. She did make the tough decision to destroy the thing that would get her back, but it was a very Starfleet decision that I'm sure Starfleet Command approved of. So, yeah, but I know you're joking, but yeah, still, Maddie says Janeway cameo incoming Picard season finale. Put a bet on it. Well, they sure have mentioned her often enough, so she should just appear. What if there's a live action Dal? Wouldn't that be something very cool? And we get the future, because this is in the future of Prodigy. Wouldn't that be really cool if there was a live action Dal? As much as I am not super hot on Prodigy, I think that would be cool. I almost think that would be maybe even more cool than the live action Zeb cameo in Star Wars The Mandalorian. Fangirling and loving it confirms it. I am. And is that a little Welsh flag next to it? It looks like a little black flag from my point of view. Let's see. Maddie Jester. Pubs close. The pubs don't close here on Christmas Day. I don't have to work, but you still need a beer. Amen, Maddie. And the pubs don't close here on Christmas Day either. Maybe certain ones do if they choose to, like certain business owners might want to give, their employees a day off. But I think there are actually, now I think about it, I think probably a lot of pubs do close because I think it's up to the business owner. But I think there are some that would be open. Um, I don't really remember, but they definitely don't close for Good Friday. Come on. I am sorry, Brandon, but that sucks. Like, that sucks. That's like a nothing holiday. Like, that holiday is dead to me. I just don't care about it. Like, it would suck if I try to go to a pub and, like, it's Good Friday. Like, what? Give me a fucking beer, you fucking asshole. It's not Good Friday. Every Friday is a Good Friday because it's the end of the work week. So don't give me that bullshit. The Welsh flag emoji doesn't work on every device apparently, but it was fun. Yeah, it looks. I mean, also it's just little teeny tiny, so maybe I just can't make out the details. And also, I don't have my reading glasses on, so I often have a hard time reading emojis without my reading glasses because they're so teeny tiny. I've been to a pub for lunch on Christmas Day a few times. Yeah. So they're open on Christmas, Brandon, and not for Good Friday? What? I am appalled. All right. So I do need to wrap this up. I gotta get prepared for my event that I'm going to this evening. Not really an event, just hanging out. But very much happy to see Brendan, Maddie, Jester, fangirling and loving it, and Will Ferrell, #1. So happy to have all of you with me talking about Star Trek, Star Wars, and whatever. So, and this is your brain on drugs. So, all right. I will be back again next month to do another one of these, and I'll do my calendar video at the beginning of May to let you know which date that will be. Also in May, get pumped. Number 100 through 76 on my top 100. Super excited for that. All right. It's been lovely seeing you too as well, Maddie. I will see you guys really soon. Goodbye.